What's going on, everybody? Off the Mike Sports Network, another edition of Off the Top Rope. So the last time is now tournament wrapped up on Friday Night SmackDown. LA Knight loses to Gunther as expected, so Gunther will be John Cena's last opponent. That was pretty cut and dry. I think that was rumored as far back as SummerSlam that he was going to be, even when he was the World Heavyweight Champion, that was going to be John Cena's final opponent. And this had been rumored for a while that, like, when John Cena was going through this, this final year, that John Cena and Gunther seemed like a logical matchup at some point, and then it turned into, hey, he's his last opponent. And so when this tournament got put together, everybody was like, hey, we know where this is going. But it was nice to see LA Knight, get to the finals of this. He put up a good showing. He's been pretty you know, he's been a pretty good wrestler for a long time. But in terms of LA Knight here, because I spent a lot of time talking about Gunther. So LA Knight, I talked about this back in June when he lost the Money in the Bank ladder match. It's the third consecutive year. Lost it in 2023, lost it in 2024. He lost it this year with Seth Rollins ultimately winning the briefcase. And then, the fake Rollins injury where he got a win, but didn't really get the win, didn't really feel like anything valid because we thought it was a token victory. Then it turned out the injury was fake and they used that to further an angle. It was just a weird thing. And I know a lot of people are mad that LA Knight didn't win this tournament. Listen, LA Knight would have won. He's in his 40s. Like, he's not the long-term future of this company. I think, it's one of the reasons why I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of. I get why Gunther won. He's a good heel. He's been like their go-to guy, one of their aces that they've went to for a long time. And, one thing that I really was interested is, like, hey, LA Knight, I've been a big LA Knight guy since he was Eli Drake. So LA Knight winning this tournament, it wouldn't have really done what we really want to see from LA Knight. Yeah, he beats John Cena, but what does that really do? My issue here is this is another example of missed opportunities with this guy. And this guy has been one of the most over people on the roster since he got to the WWE when he was back in the days of NXT, and we're talking like 5 years ago. And when before there were, he was really, like, when NXT was starting to build up back to it being in front of fans or minor amounts of fans. And you know, I've always liked him. I think he's a great performer, great on the mic. If you've ever not seen the Shoes of a Champion promo, it's one of the greatest promos of all time. Like, when he was Eli Drake, he was great. When he's been great as LA Knight, and then they make him Max Dupree and all this other stuff. And we've been waiting so long for LA Knight to get an opportunity and capitalize on it. And I talked about this in June. And I think this was another example of it, even though, like I said, this was beating John Cena wasn't going to register as, like, winning a world championship. It would have felt like a big deal, but it almost feels like too little too late. And then the fact that he didn't win, which we knew wasn't going to happen. I'm sorry, guys. All these LA Knight fan accounts, the LA Knight Revolution, all these other people on social media, the ship has sailed. I'm sorry. I love the guy. I think he's the fucking man. I think he's awesome. I think he's charismatic as hell. I think he's actually turned himself. Like, when I first started watching him back when he was Eli Drake, he wasn't that great of a wrestler. He has turned into a phenomenal professional wrestler. Like, this guy is great. Like, he puts on bangers. And and that usually wasn't the name of the game. He was usually like a promo guy with a good with like a good build. Like, it seemed like a type of guy that would work in a WWE environment. Yet for some reason they're not pulling the trigger on him. And now he's getting older, and it's been 3 years of missed opportunities. Like, we thought he should have won the Money in the Bank ladder match at the height of his peak back in 2023. Then he kept riding that wave of momentum. Didn't do anything in 2024. Yes, he beat, but yeah, he kind of did some stuff, but it wasn't nearly. It felt almost like, kind of hollow if you think about it at this point, because, hey, he beats AJ Styles in a match at WrestleMania, which was great, but he should have been. I'll tell you guys this, back at WrestleMania 39, the fact that he wasn't on that show and there were some circumstances surrounding that was kind of ridiculous. He beats AJ Styles at WrestleMania 40. Then he beats Logan Paul in Logan Paul's hometown of Cleveland at SummerSlam for the US title, has a decent run with it. And then, gets the US title back, loses it to Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. And he just, like I said, it feels like the moments have been missed out on. And then this was just another example of us getting our hopes up. It's like, for you wrestling fans, you won't understand this because you're not. I mean, if you're a fan, bear with me. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, as some of you who follow this channel. It's almost and it's almost like, what, Charlie Brown and Lucy. It's like the ball is there and it's getting pulled away by Lucy as Charlie Brown's going to kick the ball. That's like being a Cleveland Browns fan. That's what I almost feel like it is being an LA Knight fan. Because it feels like they're dangling the carrot in front of the audience and basically saying, here, we're giving him an opportunity. We're giving you what you want. And then right at the last minute, they pull it away. They just pull it away. And again, I just think that this is another example of, and especially considering his age, it ain't going to happen, guys. It ain't going to happen. This guy's not winning the world championship. At best, in WWE's eyes, he's United States Intercontinental Champion. That's it. That's the best that they're going to do. And it does feel frustrating because this guy got a word over before Jey Uso did. Yeah was over before Yeet. Okay? Let's just talk about that for a second. So, an LA Knight had been around for a long time too, just not as long in WWE. And this is not a targeting Jey Uso thing. I think that's why a lot of people are frustrated. Is the push that Jey Uso got this year should have been LA Knights. It should have been. And, just because it's not a viral moment where, everybody's throwing their hands up in the air, LA Knight was still getting some of the best reactions in the company. Charismatic as hell, entertaining as hell, engaging in everything that he does. I think he's become a better all-around performer since he got to the WWE. Because like I said, before he got there, he was an okay wrestler. He wasn't a great wrestler. He's become a really good wrestler. So in 3 consecutive years, all we have to show for it is a WrestleMania win and a United States title win at SummerSlam over Logan Paul. That's it. I don't know what you guys want to hear from me. The ship has sailed on this guy. The best opportunity that they had was in Money in the Bank, and they could have done it 3 years in a row, and they didn't do it any time. In 2023, the biggest insult, they gave it to Damian Priest, who's basically the same age as him. I like Damian Priest, and Damian Priest became a world champion. Why couldn't you have done that with LA Knight? The fact that all these years have gone by, the window is closed. And this was basically, the door slamming shut for good, in my opinion, with what happened here with Gunther beating him, which we all knew was going to happen. I mean, even the biggest LA Knight marks knew that LA wasn't winning this match. I mean, come on. What the hell does LA Knight have to gain by beating John Cena at this stage in his career? He needs to be competing for world championships. We've been waiting for him to do that. So him beating John Cena in his last match is supposed to elevate him more than, winning a world title? If you're going to do that, then do it for a younger guy. That's my whole thing. So I'm sorry to LA Knight fans. I'm sorry. I'm one of them. It's over. It's over. He'll be a fine person on this roster. He'll win some matches. He'll be entertaining as hell to everybody. This guy ain't a world champion. And people are frustrated because of stuff that Triple H said in press conferences, and we know a lot of what Triple H says doesn't mean jack shit anyway. Some things come for people who wait. Guy waited around for a long time, and it hadn't done anything for him. So, I'm sorry, man. The other big takeaway out of this, outside of Gunther winning, is LA Knight losing another big match. It's not his fault, man. WWE just made some choices, and, they didn't listen to the right people in the audience. They went with the yeet, and they should have probably went with the yeah. So, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's just a hard reality to swallow, but like some people will probably say, "Oh, LA Knight should." Guys, LA Knight ain't winning the Royal Rumble. If he couldn't win Money in the Bank the last 3 years, and now he can't, and then he finally gets past Jey Uso, but he can't get John Cena's last match. And all this guy has to show for being on the main roster in the last 3 years is a WrestleMania win over AJ Styles and a couple United States title runs and a big win at SummerSlam in a stadium. That's it. That's all this guy has. Could have easily been in the War Games match that happened at Survivor Series. Didn't even factor into that because he's been feuding with Division for a lot longer than, Roman Reigns was. So, or he's been around like right around the same amount of time as Roman Reigns. But Brock Lesnar's factored into that. Like, just, Cody Rhodes. It's like, I get it. It's just like they don't think very highly of him, unfortunately. It's just a sad reality, man. So anyway, thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.